Welcome, everyone, to our interview series with Nature Based School Founders. I am your host, Meagan Duncan, founder of Connected Kids Thrive, Positive Behaviors Guide for Nature Schools. And today we have Lindsey Brown, founder of Brown's Family Childcare. I cannot wait to dig in and share her story with you. But first, let's go over kind of how this little interview will work, okay? This is a positive behavior tip. I'm going to let you know what's coming, right? We want to do that for our kiddos, and I want to do that for you. So we are going to ask Lindsey her the three questions, right? So what inspired her to start her school, a challenge that she's overcome, or a behavior shift that she has overcome that has shaped her journey, and number three, a nugget of wisdom, a piece of advice that she wishes that she would have known before she began. And then I always like to ask what her wish would be for her audience. And as an audience member, you are going to get so much value out of this conversation, no matter if you're another founder, an educator, a parent, or maybe you're someone thinking about starting a nature school. And I think that's a lot of us in this nature school work. We are really dedicated to helping other nature schools start so that children can be served in this really beautiful way. And with that, Lindsey, please introduce yourself and we will take it away.
Okay, thank you so much, Megan. I'm so grateful to be here. I feel so honored. My name is Lindsey Brown, and I own a group home childcare program in Pennsylvania. And I am nature-based. However, in Pennsylvania, we do not have nature-based certification. So I have some education that's nature inspired, and I also have a Nature Explorer certified outdoor classroom. But in Pennsylvania, we are licensed as just a child care program.
Okay. I'm actually gonna I actually love that. And I've been looking for an opportunity to kind of dig into this child care. And it's even in my own journey when I had my nature school, this label of child care versus preschool. You know what I mean? And I think it's beautiful when we just lean into that child care name because I believe it keeps the child at the center of it. Sometimes school, whenever the school is in the name, school becomes the center of it. And so, for those who, and I wish that I would have kept my, nature school as a child care. I didn't know. I thought parents wanted preschool, so I named it something, something preschool. But I think it's great whenever child care is really honored. And I've just been looking for an opportunity to talk about that. So thank you. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, what did you have a kiddo that inspired you to jump into this kind of work, or um, what got you started?
So when I first opened my childcare program about 14 years ago, well, coming up on 14 years actually, I had three young kids of my own. My husband and I have three kids together. He has two boys and I have a daughter. So we are a blended family. And I wanted to be able to be here with them, but still help inspire the love of nature, and kind of be able to do something positive with that. So when I opened my childcare program, it was small because I had my own kids until they went to school. And then when they're off school, they were able to be home with me while, I was teaching the other little kids. So it was just kind of really nice. So that was my biggest inspiration, wanting to be able to, share the love of my passion with our youngest learners that might not have that opportunity otherwise.
Yeah, I think that's a very common reason that a lot of us jump into this work is to, make sure we're serving our kiddos the best way that we know how. We want them to get that. And yeah, staying home is so
Yeah.
amazing when we can do that.
Yes.
Okay. How about can you share a a challenging moment that has shaped your journey that you can expand upon, or even a behavior shift that you have gone through?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a challenging thing that I went through was being part of all the different initiatives that are available for childcare programs in our state. You want to think that you need these in your program to be very high quality. I had a bad experience with the Keystone STARS program. And that has really shaped my thinking on how I moved forward with my work. So now I'm more nature focused, more nature based. Everything is inspired with that in mind. Obviously, I don't believe that high quality is something that somebody just looks at all your paperwork and tells you that you're high quality. I think it is so much more than that. And for me, it is welcoming kiddos to a safe and loving environment that is green and nature based and fun, and where they can freely play and enjoy themselves. And now I have more time to focus on that. Now that I'm not so worried about all of the initiatives that we want to make us think that we're high quality.
Ah, I love that you bring that up. And that's so important for others to hear. I had a similar experience. I was definitely gung ho to get my 5 stars and be the best in the land. And then as I started to work up those requirements, I became less joyful in my work. The
Yeah,
kiddos became less joyful. And so I backed down and nope, we stayed 1 star. And
yeah,
we had so much fun hiking all the time, outings all the time. And just, yeah, the more requirements that they have us go through, the less joyful it can be sometimes. So
yeah,
thank you for sharing that. So, so important.
yeah, absolutely. And I couldn't agree more.
Um, what piece of advice? I think that kind of went into a piece of advice, but do you have
Yeah.
another piece of advice that you wish you would have known sooner that you can share with us?
Yeah, I think it does kind of go along with what we were just talking about, but just being able to like really focus and hone in on your true beliefs, on what you think is
Oh,
best.
yes.
Because for me, it's not having this big boxed curriculum that somebody else is telling you exactly how to run your program. It's doing the emergent curriculum, the play-based, really watching them thrive through personal hands-on experiences, experiential learning, outdoor play. And like within my program, we focus on local nature, which are things that they can see on their car rides here out the window or in their own backyards or in the backyard here. So and we're learning all of the same learning domains. So, I mean, and I'm just putting less work into it and more passion. And so I think that's my advice, is to really just be passionate about what you're doing.
Again, oh my gosh, so many nails on the head. I think with all these curriculums of do this at this, these really boxed curriculums and not like you mentioned, the emergent curriculum, letting the child be
Mhm.
the curriculum. I think we lose our intuition. Um, and with it, the joy for sure. I
Yes.
saw someone post, I need a curriculum for my infants. And I'm like, oh, ouch.
Yeah.
Like what have, yeah. And so that's a
Like the
whole
routine
other,
is the curriculum. A
yeah,
routine for an infant can be a
yes,
curriculum. And if people will just, take
yes,
some of this off their plates, they will be a lot happier for sure.
yes.
Yeah.
Um, and like you said too, you can design your little nature-based school how whatever gifts you have within you, that can be kind of the framework with how you design it. There is no wrong as long as you're
Mhm.
experiencing a lot of joy, the kiddos are experiencing a lot of joy, they want to be there, they're curious. That is what it's about.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, amazing. Thank you. Something
Thank
that
you.
I forgot to run by you. Um, I hope you forgive me. And you can say no thanks if you don't like this. I have been asking for a simple story um, that can highlight this this work for our audience. So yeah, is there a simple, just something that has happened that is just like, oh yeah, this is why I do this? And I'm sure you have many, many, many. Can you just share
Yeah.
one with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when we first moved here in March of this past year, I finally got my preschool separated from my home. So that was like really important to me to have this separate childcare and nature-based preschool.
Mhm.
And then we have woods behind us where the kids can explore. And I was like, I really, really want to focus on this local nature because supposedly children can, they can read all of these corporate logos, McDonald's and
Mhm.
Amazon and Walmart,
Oh,
but they don't know the local fauna and flora names. And I was like, I am going to teach them this. So every day we're walking through the woods, we're learning about all the different trees that I'm aware of. I'm learning as well. And we came across a fern that had something sticking up that looked like cinnamon sticks. And so I used my phone to take a picture, and we learned together right there in that moment that that is called a cinnamon fern. And now every time we go on our nature hikes, my preschoolers know what a cinnamon fern is. And that's probably one of my happiest moments, being outside exploring, and it works. It teaching them about local nature works. I mean, I've experienced it in so many other ways since then, but that's my favorite one.
and um, I think all nature workers have a similar story like that. And what that highlights is how connected to nature and how empowering that is. When a
Yeah,
kiddo can be like, I can touch that, I know what that is. Maybe they
yeah,
if it's poison ivy, they know they don't want to touch that, right? But they're
yes,
connected to the earth, to the nature around them. And that is so
yeah,
empowering if they can name the fern and name that kind of cloud and just name those things. It activates something so deep within them. And that's what this nature based connection is all about. And then when they get to teach an
yeah,
adult, another adult that, or another child that, that's that full circle learning that they're powerful in. And that's why we do
yeah.
this. That's
Yes,
so
exactly.
hard.
And it's so it just we you can see within us with our smiles we're both in line with what we're
Yes.
speaking about. So
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love that. Okay, our last one. What wish do you have for our audience listening, whether they're another founder or an educator or a parent? What is your wish for them to take away?
So I think what I would really love for everyone to take away is that nature is a free learning tool. Like,
Mm.
please, please use it in your classroom, outside of your classroom. If you're scared about it, which I know a lot of folks are scared to get started, start small. You know, just be safe and have fun and let nature be that third teacher. So that's my wish for everyone.
I love that. Very, very simple. Let it be that free third teacher. And that can be so supportive in that emergent curriculum. Just dancing around the kiddos' curiosities in the nature that is already present around
Yeah.
them. Very, very cool. Um, do you mind, since we're a little ahead on time, do you mind if I share a story that kind of highlights that aha moment?
I
Um,
would love
uh,
that.
okay.
Absolutely.
I've shared this before, but it's the story of when I finally learned how to trust myself, to trust the kids. And so um, when I first just, I had my own preschool. It wasn't so nature based in the beginning, but it transformed over time as part of my journey. And when I started learning about this emergent curriculum and just standing back and waiting to be invited in, not being the wisest, person in the room, always imparting my knowledge that we seem to feel the need to do. They were observing a little ladybug on a branch, and I was just waiting for their eye contact to be invited in and then step back again. It was this beautiful, beautiful dance. And their focus was just so intense and it lasted many, many minutes. I don't remember how long, like 10 minutes of this observation. And then through their inquiry, they asked if space had a smell.
Oh my God.
I know, like hand over heart. Like, and that was the real moment that I knew, oh, okay, there is something here. Had I locked them in desks and had, a bee on the table because it's, and with the blue crayon and all these kind of strange things that we fall into, that would have never happened. We probably wouldn't have made volcanoes on that day either because that's what they wanted to do and talk about, non-Newtonian fluids and viscosities and all these things that can naturally come into the environment, into the setting. And I think for people that are curious about emergent curriculum, and it sounds like you may offer support in that, and we'll talk about that in a second. But it really is because I think a lot of educators, there's a lot of fear there. Like, how am I going to make sure that they know things, right?
Yeah.
Not only the cinnamon fern, you know, it, the other important quote unquote things. And I think helping them feel comfortable that the moment will present itself when you can sprinkle those academics, quote unquote, into the learning and the kids eat it up.
Yes.
They wear that knowledge, they own that knowledge, it's meaningful. And yeah, your story and my story right there for sure. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. I think it's so great. And kids, they come up with things you don't even think they would know and questions. And then I love, like, if I don't know the answer, I love being able to find it with them. And then we learn together, and it's just so fun.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. All right. How can people find you and work with you?
Not only do I have the nature preschool, I also do nature education consulting within typically my own state with my early learning resource centers and other places that I've done work for. And so I have an email address that's easy nature-based ece at yahoo.com if anybody would want to get in contact with me. I love working with not only children, but adults as well, and collaborating and being in work groups and all of those fun things. So, yeah, that's how somebody can get a hold of me if they would like. And I also have my Facebook, which is Brown's Childcare, that somebody can find me there too.
I was definitely going to make sure I mentioned that if you did not, because it is so inspiring looking, watching, all the content that you share with us that's going on in your school. So very, very inspiring. Everybody listening,
Thank you.
I definitely, you're so welcome. I recommend that you head over to Lindsey's page, the Browns Family Childcare, and like and love and comment. It helps share her work with others who would like to see it and may feel inspired enough to create their own little program, or at least maybe enhance their program, or bring some of that nature into their own standard program. Like, there's no wrong way to bring nature in. So I love that. And for those who are curious about the behavior piece, right? That's what I do. I help nature schools with the behavior piece because they already got the setting part of the environment locked in. We can't really work on behavior if a kiddo has not moved during the day. That's not an appropriate place to start. So the nature schools that I work with are already so equipped with the programming that they do. Sometimes taking the walls away isn't quite enough. Sometimes, some deeper behavior understanding on our own and the kiddos is really, really powerful in really making sure a school thrives. So if you're curious about that, you can reach out to me on my website, connectedkidsthrive.com. Okay, I think we did it in 20 minutes, actually. Um,
That's perfect.
yeah, anything else you want to share before we say bye?
I don't think so. I'm grateful to be able to be here and share my story. And I do hope to inspire other folks who may be a little bit on the fence about whether or not to bring nature in, because it can be challenging, especially with like licensing and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
hopefully
yeah,
others will be inspired.
that is our goal. Before I let you go, I want to share with everybody that I think Lindsey and we didn't discuss it officially, but we're going to hop back on here sometime soon and talk about how she supports with that emergent curriculum, because even though it sounds simple or seems simple, it can feel complex. And so getting support around that is really, really powerful. And also, I wanted to share, I have a directory coming out, the Choose Your Guide directory, and it's where established nature schools can get on it, and people looking for them can kind of see what they're all about and connect with that guide and get that mentorship, that support, that connection. Because I remember this work being quite lonely, like doing the best work ever and also feeling really quite lonely in it. And so making sure those connections are built and letting people see the variety of nature-based schools out there, whether it's Montessori or Reggio Emilia or Waldorf, or all the different approaches. So very, very excited to support nature schools in that way too. All right.
That sounds very amazing. I'm very excited for that.
We will talk about that for sure. Okay. Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you got a lot of value out of this and feel inspired. I invite you to check out the other interviews that we have done. They're so incredible. These founders are so generous in sharing their stories, their wisdom, their recommendations. And so I definitely recommend you check out those interviews, check them out, reach out to them. And if you would like to be interviewed, reach out to me and we will make sure that happens. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.